no idea if that went out or not. So I hope.
I hope they heard my little song about butts. I hope everyone heard the butt song. And if you didn't hear the butt song, Steven will sing it to you after the show because it's really his song.
It is.
The butt song.
Check.
The
1,
song
2.
about
Test.
butts.
Check. Testing.
Get happy to smell a whole night long.
Hi, everybody.
Don't worry if it's not smelly enough, 'cause Chris can make it stink. So
I don't even know what we're doing anymore.
I don't know either. I'm very
Smell
I found out,
confused.
by the way, after we recorded last time, that one of the kids ended up pressing play on one while we were streaming. I found out that they looked it up, and so I was like, "Huh, I better watch what I say."
So don't talk about their Christmas gifts.
No, I never would, anyways, because they're not getting any.
That's right. You heard it here, children. No Christmas gifts.
I don't have
for
a job,
you.
so I can't afford them. Sorry, kids.
Yeah, that blows. Okay, so everybody, I have a feeling that I realized that they actually couldn't hear the sounds last time. So how about them? How about them apples?
I don't like those apples,
th-
Steven.
No, they can't hear the sounds, I don't think. So that's okay.
I don't. Could you guys hear the sounds from that bumper? Please
I
let
don't
us
think
know.
They could. I think
Live in the chat.
I think I I'll have to go look it up after because I don't think they could last time either. Now that I think
Oh,
this through.
snip, snap. Snippity, snappity.
I'll have to fix that. So we might just go without an intro today.
Oh,
So I really don't feel like fixing it right now. Cool. So they probably couldn't last time either, which is awesome.
I love it. That didn't work.
I probably could actually. Could I? Yeah, give me a sec. I think I can.
I wouldn't worry about it. We're just busting your metaphorical balls here.
Well, just give me 1 sec. Let me actually. I'll look.
One.
Yeah, that was hilarious. Audio
Steven's
input.
Steam Deck or Stream Deck doesn't work tonight very well, guys, because of one of our news points. So
Yeah. No.
send your condolences to his Stream Deck.
Everybody, you're gonna. Oh, actually. Chris
Oh,
is on here. Cool, that
hello.
works. Cool.
Woo! I'm a
check.
floating head.
We're gonna go audio source, audio, media, or let's go input capture, audio input capture. Let's go sounds.
You're a
Let's go
sound.
Stream Deck. Let's call it Stream Deck.
Ooh. Should I go get my Steam Deck so that we can
Device.
confuse them more easily?
Yes.
I mean, it's just in the cabinet right there. The problem is I'll probably start playing the Star Trek Voyager game that came out, the demo of it, because it's distracting.
Oh, I'm getting some weird sounds back. I don't know why.
I think that was from the chat room in Discord, because it was as
There you
soon
go.
as people typed.
Can you mute the tab
I
in
did.
Safari?
I just don't know why it was echoing, but that's okay.
Because butts. Butts.
You guys want me to sing again?
I mean, what are you going to sing?
The butt song, just like I did.
Oh, well, in that case,
check.
I wish I wasn't on screen.
Oh, I think they're getting
while
echo.
you sang
Sorry,
it.
they're getting echo.
This is a special effect. This is for my PA announcer voice.
Let's try that. Can you talk? Nope. Nope. That's not gonna work.
Hello,
All right,
attention
what
shoppers, attention shoppers. Blue Light special on aisle 6 as we sell butt pads. A special butt pad for everyone so that when you're sitting on those hard seats, your butt doesn't hurt.
Can you do speaker output on OBS?
I don't know.
I don't think you can. I guess I'll have to try to next time.
I only know about Blue Light specials on butt pads right now. I almost said
here
something
we go.
else.
There's macOS audio capture. Let's try this.
Ooh.
Let's see here. Oh, it wants me to allow it. So sure, we'll allow it. Why not?
I'm sorry, everyone watching live who's stuck with just my floating head.
Oh, what's this application audio?
My apologies. I'm gonna.
Not really floating.
Here's my unicorn horn.
Oh, I might have it. I might have it here. Let's see. Let's see.
It's a Lego remover tool. It's very exciting. Ooh, that's exciting.
This is awesome. Cool. That's actually a sweet little feature. I had no idea.
Steven, apparently your volume is still lower.
That's okay. My volume can be lower.
It's okay. Mothman will save
how about
you.
now? I'm also mumbling, by the way, just so we're clear. I have a tendency to mumble while I'm working through things. Okay, let's try that and see.
Do you like to mumble when our stapler is stolen?
That was funny.
I'm just gonna put the Mothman here because no one needs to see my face.
I just want my stapler.
I just want my swing line stapler.
Just want my stapler.
My swing line stapler. I just want my swing
I'm
line.
gonna burn this place down.
All right, we'll see what happens. This might all go to shit, but it is what it is. Am I still? How is that, everybody? Am I still loud? Wow, that sounds like I'm almost clipping. Loud, loud, loud. Am I still lower than everybody else? I would like to know. What's the?
Brett says Steven is better.
I am. This is sweet. All right, cool. I think I fixed it. We'll see. We'll find out. It either will or it won't.
Steven is better volume now, as per Kent. Or not Kent.
I didn't realize
Albert.
that was there, so that's cool. So actually, there's an audio source capture. You can select the window. So I selected the Stream Deck. So we will see how it goes.
Special effects. What are you talking about, Kent? This is my regular voice. I was just doing special blue light announcements. That's voice control. I'm
We
very
have
talented.
no special
We have
effects on this show.
SP's just got an office full of helium.
There's no special effects. The best effect that I have for myself is to hit mute and then not be on the.
I may or may not be in an atmosphere on another planet that is full of helium.
And methane.
All right, should we record? Should we
But
do
that's
this?
just because of the Brussels
We
sprouts.
are recording, Steven.
No,
I've recorded 8 minutes.
I meant should we go live?
We are live.
I mean, I figured we were done.
Okay.
Take it so
All right,
long.
bye, everybody.
Bye. We'll see y'all next week or in 2 weeks or whatever.
I got no pre-roll again because, things go out of my mind in no time.
This is the official GonnaGeek.com show. Here we run down the latest news and happenings in the world of geek. These are your hosts for the show, Steven, Chris, and SP.
Six, seven. It's another episode of the official GonnaGeek show. I am Steven, and I am pleased to say Chris Farrell is here.
The meme is dead, everyone. If we're doing it on the GonnaGeek.com show, the meme is dead.
Also, SP is here.
I will correct you, Chris. It is the official GonnaGeek.com show.
Hey,
I'm sorry. Then we're officially done.
I'm going to throw this out to the audience. I want to see what they think about this. This is the official GonnaGeek show, but back in the day, we were the official GonnaGeek.com podcast, and then there was this whole thing where it was like, there was a stand that was taken about podcasts versus shows, and we're like, you know what? Show is more reflective of what we are, so we switched over to show. But luckily, the world has reclaimed the term podcast to incorporate video now. So should we go back to the official GonnaGeek podcast? That's the good question. And I say it's a good question because I'm the one positing it.
How does that assist or not assist SEO?
I think the word podcast inherently assists SEO. Like if you do a podcast,
Right.
that just raises the SEO up above show, which is low
Look,
and
as
podcast is higher.
long as we don't call ourselves a netcast, I'm happy. Thank you, Albert, for reminding me of that one.
Oh, the official GonnaGeek.com netcast. That has
That's
a ring to
me.
it.
That's me throwing some shade because when that first happened, I thought it was dumb, and I still think it's dumb. Like 15 years later,
You know,
Isn't
there
Leo
was a little bit of
Laporte-
shade on that nudity as well.
Isn't
which
Leo
one?
Laporte coming in to retire soon? I mean, I
Who
heard
knows?
that like a year ago or so.
I don't know.
I didn't even know that he was still netcasting.
The last I heard, they fired most of the people or let go most of the people on the network except for him and his wife. That's the last I heard, and they were having
And they
problems.
closed the studio.
Yeah, and they were having problems maintaining viability. That's the last I heard. But I
They
don't
make
know.
a pill for that.
So anyways, let us know, what do you think? Should we be a podcast? Should we be a show? Should we be a netcast? Should we be a net pod show? Let me know.
How about podcast show?
That's a lot to
The
say.
official GonnaGeek.com show podcast.
You know me, I can only really count up to 3, and so it's got to be only 3 words.
Gonna Geek Pod Showcast.
Come to
It's
our Discord.
hyphenated.
It's GonnaGeek.com/Discord and let us know. What do you think? Should we go back? Because, hey, I know a couple of guys that have some up-to-date mic flags where it would fit right in.
You want me to go real up to date? I'll flip it to one that's super current.
Is it Starling Tribune? Please tell me it's Starling Tribune.
It is exactly Starling Tribune. I think that's right here.
R.I.P. Arrow.
If there was any of my podcasts that I would want to take down, that would be the first one.
Is that because I was on there a couple of times?
No, not at all. It's just because
That's a coincidence.
I soured from the whole DC universe on the way they treated the Arrowverse.
Oh, I agree. It was bad, and also Arrow, just in general, how they treated Arrow, not just the Arrowverse, because Arrow got pretty rough there when they decided that they were going to make the team have some issues and split up.
The fact that Felicity wasn't there the last season, I mean, they did it right at the end, right? But
Yeah.
the fact that she wasn't there for the last season said everything that you needed to know about the show.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree with you. So come on by to our Discord and talk about Arrow.
Or not.
All right. Should we get into the GonnaGeek.com Podnet show news?
Why not? We're here. Hey guys, I know I updated everybody on what happened in the year of space when we're talking about heavy lift space vehicles and rockets, but something happened between the last time we recorded and this time. Actually, a couple things happened between the last time we recorded and today, and that is Starship Flight 11, SpaceX's the biggest rocket this planet had ever seen, actually launched for the 11th time from Starbase USA, formerly known as Boca Chica, Texas. Go ahead. I know you guys do it. Go ahead.
No, because I peed myself by the end of the last show.
I said it so much. Okay.
Well, depends on what we're talking about here.
Yeah, it depends. You're absolutely correct on that.
I was just going to say depends. Are you wearing any? Because we could go more Boca Chica
Man,
for you.
You think I'm wearing pants right now? Come on. Come on.
Nice one. Nice callback, especially because we were talking about Leo Laporte earlier. All right. What we're talking about now, though, is Starship and SpaceX. And Flight 11 happened on October 13th, 2025. That is the 1-year anniversary away from the first booster catch of the launch tower ever. And that was October 13th, 2024. So booster 15-2 and ship 38 lifted off at 6:23 p.m. Central Time from Pad 1 at Starbase, Texas. And all 33 engines were running at liftoff. No engine shut down during the ascent on stage 1. There was hot staging at the separation. It was completely flawless with the directional steering or control due to the hot stage ring blockage configuration, where they can basically determine which way the booster is going to flip to come back, which means that they can use less fuel in that maneuver. This was also the last Starship to use a separate hot staging ring, as version 3 will have an integrated reusable hot staging ring included in the booster itself. They didn't do it before because there was a weight distribution issue. They fixed it with version 3, made it a lot thinner. They didn't have as much weight up there, and they took away some weight at the top of the booster tank, and also simultaneously had some more shielding to protect the top of the booster away from the hot staging, because you're firing 6 rocket engines right on top of it. So they did some more shielding and yet came away with less weight in the design, at least for version 3. The rocket returned to about 12 miles offshore from the launch site. The booster simulated a different engine burn configuration, which is more similar to what version 3 rocket engines will do. And it was also to reduce the total amount of fuel. If you reduce the amount of fuel you need to return the booster to the launch site, then you increase the amount of mass you can actually put into orbit. So all these little savings of fuel and weight along the way really add up to how much pounds and mass that you can put into orbit. When it came back, though, I don't know if you guys saw it. Did you guys see it? Booster 15 hovered a couple 100 feet over the ocean for, I don't know, 10, 12 seconds, something like that. Did any of you see the video of that?
I did not.
I didn't, but the way you just described it, I feel like I did.
All right. It's just
Oh, I
hovering
see
there,
what you did.
just static, a couple 100 feet above the ocean. And then the engines cut, and they deliberately did it a couple of 100 feet above the ocean so that when it hit the ocean, it would definitively explode. They didn't want any parts left over. They wanted to clear the area for marine navigation. They also wanted to make sure that there was nothing left for technology transfer to somebody that they didn't want to transfer it to. So they made sure it exploded.
A question for you. You said it was static there. Does that mean you need like a static remover or something? Because I got some here. Would that work for you? So
I mean, it would work for me. I don't know if it would work.
Is
for
that
the
a
booster.
sponsor?
Does it work on stainless steel? I don't know. Does it say anything on the label that it works on stainless steel?
it says, yeah, wrinkle releaser, odor eliminator, and stainless steel Starship 11 static.
So they
remover.
could use it for lightning protection?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
How much is Bounce paying us for this plug? Because I'd like to know my cut.
As much as
it
the
was a
GMC
bounce.
4x4 Sierra version.
It was bounce.
Wow,
it's
that's
Canadian.
a great pull-out.
Well, the booster did not bounce. It went down and it exploded. And it just, it was like it was waiting for a standing ovation or something as it was saying farewell before it went down and exploded. It was great. It was, I will send you the video since you obviously didn't see the greatness of it. And it was really cool. For those listening,
really
Stephen
doing that?
literally
Okay.
stood up from his
Okay.
chair. Thank God he was wearing pants. And he did some, and there's Chris.
Yeah.
Chris, sit down, please. You're not wearing any pants, dude. Sit
See,
down.
Chris was smart enough to unmute his microphone for an audio medium. I was not.
I thought you did that on purpose, I'll be honest. I thought that was the gag.
Yeah, a slow silent clap. Yeah, that was great. Meanwhile, the ship, which was Ship 38, continued on its flight. It dispensed 8 simulation Starlinks. We've dubbed them as Simlinks, by the way, without hitting the payload door this time as they did in Flight 10. And it successfully lit the engine in space once again. And despite missing tiles in key areas, which SpaceX intentionally did because they're trying to break it, they're trying to see how many tiles and what locations is going to make this thing fail. It actually survived re-entry. It performed several high G positioning and speed reduction maneuvers to land precisely on target in the Indian Ocean, simulating the actual landing path that it's going to have to take coming into Starbase USA or Boca Chica. There you go, guys. Take another drink. When it landed in the Indian Ocean before toppling over and exploding as planned, because every time the thing has toppled over so far, it's exploded. It did so again. So all successful flight for Flight 10, Flight 11, but as we discussed last time, version 2 was not really successful. There was a lot of failures. There was like 5 failures in the major failures in the program before they got their successes. This will be the last flight for 2025 until they resurrect the new launch pad, Pad 2. We discussed this last time, in version 3 of the rocket. It'll be sometime in early 2026. But that's not all, guys. There's more. As Chris celebrated with balloons, by the way. The more is today, there is some controversy over the Artemis 3 lander. Have you guys heard any of this? Is late breaking this afternoon. Did you guys hear anything about this?
No, because I don't pay attention to things ever.
No, you don't. Like, you don't listen to Chris. You don't listen to me. You just keep on going and doing whatever it is you do in Canada.
Who?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So in case you guys didn't hear, the acting NASA administrator, which is also the Secretary of Treasury. I wrote Treasury. Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy, announced today that he was not satisfied with the pace of Starship development and is going to open up the Human Landing System contract for competition again. Now, Blue Origin has continued development of its moon lander for an Artemis 5 mission, and it might be a viable option for Artemis 3 at this time. Blue Origin's pace does depend on the reuse of a new Glenn booster, which is set to launch just in a couple weeks, sometime next month. And it will be used to launch a prototype lander to the moon sometime next year. Secretary Duffy emphasized the race against China to return to the moon and is pushing for a 2028 or earlier date to land on the moon. By the way, in case you weren't counting or weren't paying attention, a 2028 date coincides with the final year of the current Trump presidency term. So in case you were wondering why 2028 was so important. China, meanwhile, has expressed a plan to land on the moon in 2030 for the country's first time. That's all late breaking news this afternoon, except for the fact that China is planning on going to the moon in 2030. They've had that for some time. So here's my question for you guys. Are you guys ready for the question? Have you been paying attention at all?
I have.
I'm not ready for the quiz.
Okay. Question for you guys. Has SpaceX squandered its lead in a race back to the moon with 2025 Starship version 2 epic and public blunders? Or do you think they're now paced on a good path to get to the moon before Blue Origin?
I really don't want to answer this, but I'm going to have to answer it. And I will try to let us live in our disconnected world of podcasting right now and not have to face the reality of the world. But I think this is politically driven.
No, you don't say.
I think that
I'm shocked.
Really?
I think
I wasn't reading that at all.
I think that is the only way in which that they squandered it, is that they didn't make it happen before someone got in someone else's bad books. I think that that's the driving force behind this, and I think that also there will be a bit of motivation here to lower some prices. Do things a little more favorable, maybe to the books, the American books. I don't know what you want to call it.
Books to do what?
Basically make it more affordable.
Make what more affordable?
The whole program.
Canadian?
The whole program.
Molson?
Yes, the Molson Canadian. No.
What
Basically,
whole program?
bring the budget down.
Bring the budget down for what?
The moon landing.
The moon landing. Oh, for the United States to pay for the moon landing, whether it comes out of NASA's budget or not.
Yes.
Okay.
Isn't it coming out of NASA's budget, or am I wrong on that?
Right now, the Artemis program is funded by the United States through NASA. That is correct.
Yes, exactly. So obviously, they are trying to reduce budgets right now, and so I think that this encourages maybe more gifting from SpaceX towards the U.S. as far as some of this mission goes, or missions go. And so I think that they want to try to force Elon into SpaceX to not charge as much.
So that's a good thought. I know a thing or two about these contracts. Most of the money that NASA was going to pay for the development of these systems has already been paid to both companies. So whether they deliver in 5 years
interesting.
or 2 years, it really doesn't matter. They're
I
not
actually didn't know
saving or
that.
gaining any money.
I didn't realize that. I thought that it was like a thing where it was this much for this year, this much for next year. I didn't know that. Okay. So that breaks that plan. I still think it's politically motivated. And I do think that I don't know. I still struggle to see Blue Origin get up to speed with SpaceX on this. Like, you just recapped the amazingness that was this Starship 11 test flight and the things that it was able to accomplish, and that they are trying to break the ship by leaving tiles off of it. They still can't even do that. And Blue Origin seems to fail and fail and fail. So I struggle to see the viability in them actually legitimately wanting to use Blue Origin instead of SpaceX. I think there's an alternative reason.
So just to be clear of all of the viable parameters of the Starship human landing system, they are going to need to reuse ships to transfer fuel to the HLS system.
Yes.
So in order to do it rapidly, they're going to have to rapidly reuse basically what they call tanker ships. And so when they come back down, the tanks cannot be ruptured. And ship 38, I didn't say it in my recount of the mission, but ship 38 was perforated in the tank areas in several places because of the missing tiles, but you wouldn't be able to refuel it and go. I don't even know if you could repair it. It was damaged beyond use, so you couldn't rapidly reuse it. You're going to have another ship be launched. You might be able to rapidly reuse the booster, so if you have enough ships stacked up, you could probably do it. But they said they need 17 at one point in time, 17 different ships to launch to refuel the ship that is going to the moon. So that's 18 launches just off of that statement in order to send something. And you have to do this like every couple of hours because the fuel it's cryogenic fuel. It does eventually burn off. So that is an issue with Starship. The benefit of Blue Origin is they say they have zero loss in their cryogenic tanks. So that alone even if they needed refueling, that provides at least stability in the fuel tanks, that they'll be able to retain more propellant as they go forward. That could be a consideration here.
Yeah, you've got me rethinking this whole thing. I still think that, they've squandered it in the sense of political reasons. And by that, I do still think that both of these companies will face problems.
You were probably right to begin with.
I'm getting there as they start to get closer and actually fail in some of these things. Like I do think that Blue Origin has this history of not being smooth sailing. And so like, let's say what happens if they lock in a contract and then they go and somehow they do something and they beat SpaceX in this something. And then it goes horribly wrong. Well, now the current political climate means that there's going to be big pressure. Stop wasting our tax dollars. Stop wasting our money. Why are you giving Blue Origin more time? And now we're back to probably a limbo that will go on for a very long time, and the whole thing will probably be abandoned. So I think that the current political climate, doesn't bode well for either of these companies, if I'm being honest.
Chris?
I think they'll keep throwing money at it, and I think that once the game is played between the two billionaire companies, someone will kiss butt appropriately enough to then become the front runner again and succeed. I think there's too much money involved for it not to happen. So it's going to happen. The real question is, how safe is it?
So the difference between the two companies right now, and this might not be long-term, but right now, is that SpaceX has a legitimate income stream that is not NASA dependent. And that's Starlink. We talked about it last time, right? So Starlink is keeping this vehicle alive. And they need this vehicle to launch even bigger, better Starlink satellites in orbit so they can make more money because they can market to more people to do more, better internet, faster, better, more places, that sort of thing. So they're going to win long term from the development of Starship. I don't think there's that much money in going to the moon. I think moon is a testing ground for Mars. So if anything, if they have a race, it's really to Mars, not necessarily to the moon. But there's also those natural resources on the moon, which is close enough that we can, use some mining techniques to get the water and the special mining minerals and that sort of thing from it. It won't be entirely economic viable, but it will prove the technology to go off to do other things. And because SpaceX has the funding to do these special little R&D jaunts, basically back and forth to the moons through their Starlink, I think they have a better long-term chance of all three. Really, if you consider China being like a third company or country in the whole thing, China might do the Apollo program where they're going to get to the moon, but unless they show some sort of economic viability from all that, I don't know if they will maintain a presence. It is ultimately all about the money. You go back to Christopher Columbus. Did he come back with gold? No. How long did it take for the next ship to go? A long time.
One thing that does occur to me is we've already seen the situation where SpaceX had to fill in for another private entity in the world of space. And so I wonder, let's say that things do end up going the way of Blue Origin as far as contracts go. I just can't shake the feeling that something is going to happen and SpaceX will have to be right there to go, oh, we'll save you. Just because they're so far ahead. I don't know. It just, it's hard for me to compare the two given the very small profile of everybody except for SpaceX, and then the very large success profile of SpaceX.
And one could say Boeing has had some success in commercial space flight through New Shepard, but as we discussed last time, it's 3 minutes in space.
Fair enough.
SpaceX, on the other hand, has had full-blown missions to space using their capsule that are not International Space Station related. So some are, some aren't. So they've done very well with their Dragon capsules. Do the Dragon capsule success translate over to Starship? Maybe a little, but it's not a 1-for-1.
Fair.
And does the 1-for-1 that's different but similar from New Shepard to the Moonlander, Blue Moon Mark 1, for instance, is that, I don't know. It's so early in this. It's very, very hard to say one versus the other. But between the two, Blue Origin has the first opportunity, if they land their booster, to launch something to the moon next year. Not with people on it, but get something to the surface next year.
See, I
What
know
about
you're
robots?
Say that
Are we going to take over the moon, invade with robots?
It's all happened before, it will all happen again.
So say we all.
All right, well, let's go on to the next news point here before SP convinces me that I should be a Blue Origin fan because, Katy Perry and Justin Trudeau and all that stuff there. Obviously, I, as a Canadian, should be Blue Origin fan. Let's go on to Bose, because apparently Bose, that was a weird stretch, Bose is going to make some changes.
Can you listen to Katy Perry on Bose?
You could. Yes.
Okay.
In theory.
In space?
Well, I guess it really depends on how you're listening, because if it's after February 18th, 2026, and you are trying to listen through a streaming service on your SoundTouch device, well, you will not be able to do that because Bose has announced that it's discontinuing support for their SoundTouch product line in regard to the SoundTouch app after February 18th, 2026. What exactly is the SoundTouch line? Well, let me quote you from the post where they announced this. Quote, first introduced in 2013, SoundTouch systems have delivered more than a decade of reliable, room-filling sound, end quote. Now, these Sound Touch products relied a lot on the Sound Touch app for many of the features, and basically that's what they've announced that they are discontinuing is the Sound Touch app, which means that it will affect the other cloud-related stuff that's to do with the Sound Touch platform. Quote, on February 18th, 2026, Bose will discontinue cloud support for all Sound Touch products. Until that date, your system will continue functioning as usual, including access to cloud-based features through the Sound Touch app. So you're probably saying to yourself, why are you watching this podcast? And then you're probably also saying to yourself, I can't imagine there were that many products if they're suddenly stopping support for a critical feature. Well, I can't give you an exact number, but what I can tell you is that the Sound Touch app did cover multiple categories of Bose products, including standalone speakers, home theater systems, and other accessories that were branded Sound Touch, which includes a separate, quote, Bose wireless link, end quote. I'm quoting the name of the product, adapter, which basically took existing pre-Sound Touch Bose products and made them compatible with the Sound Touch platform. And if you bought that, you might have paid it somewhere in the realm of a couple $100, at least Canadian price-wise. And you won't be able to use it anymore. Now, with all of that said, if you do own any of these Sound Touch products, they will continue to work with the dumb features such as Bluetooth, aux input, HDMI. But there is something that I noticed when I was perusing the FAQ for this, which was
Snooping.
Snooping, yes. They said, will I lose access to my saved presets? And the answer to this was, while some existing presets may continue to work, we cannot guarantee that all presets will work going forward. You will not be able to change any existing presets once the app no longer functions. So that tells me, I don't know a lot about the Bose platform, but that tells me there must have been some of these products that actually relied on the Sound Touch platform to do things like set your presets on certain, I don't know, stereos or whatever. And it makes me wonder how many other features might be related, because I did a little bit of Googling and I saw some references to things like being able to start the calibration from the Sound Touch app. I know there were some sound profiles on some of these things, and I'm wondering how many of these things are going to be affected by the discontinuation of the Sound Touch app.
I think it's pretty obvious Bose doesn't care.
Yeah. And as we discuss that, I want to also ask the question, how do you guys feel about buying something expecting a certain feature set, such as in this case here, Bose having the Sound Touch app with all of these cloud features, only to have them retired later? Do you think that there's a solution to this problem? And what other things might you have encountered this, whether geeky or non-geeky related, geeky and wink. So yeah, I agree with you. I do think that that Bose clearly doesn't care.
So I guess the question I would have is, this service, is this something there was a monthly subscription tied to, or was you buy the hardware once and then you use this app to interface with it?
I think it was kind of like our Echoes or our Nest devices, where it was like, we're buying this hardware and we're going to use it to communicate with these other platforms like streaming and whatnot.
So that's the problem we run into anymore with any of this hardware anymore that's all predicated on connecting to back-end cloud services, is that because you have a feature 3 years ago doesn't mean you'll have a feature 3 years later. Why is that? Well, because they're maintaining and paying for servers and developers and things like that to keep it running. And if you're Bose, and I'm not justifying their decision, I'm looking at it from a business point of view, they go, we're not selling this hardware anymore. We're paying X amount of dollars per year to keep the service running. Shut it down. And they frankly don't care because they already got your money. It's the sad, simple fact of the matter. And that's the problem we run into with tech anymore. And Stephen, you mentioned Wink as a joke. We do know that happened there with a lot of creep and cost creep. You could argue there was an enshittification of the product that went on for lack of a better term. I don't think you have to bleep that because it's actually used in a variety of different news sources, but that's where they continue to kind of degrade a service and take things away and make it worse, and you just kind of get used to it and take it. We've seen it with Google Nest, for instance. Remember Nest Gen 1 and 2 thermostats? I had one in my house that I just sold like less than a week ago. The Gen 1 and Gen 2 thermostats are being depreciated as of October 24th, I think it was. You would no longer have cloud access to adjust your thermostat or any of that. It wouldn't be able to phone home and send any metrics and data back. Now, you can argue the Gen 1 thermostat was 10 plus years old, so you had a good run on it. But something like a thermostat, you set that, install it, they last a long time, longer than 10 years. Should I expect to have full feature support on my thermostat? Arguably, yes, but you can look at it from a business perspective and see why they would choose to stop that, because A, people aren't buying Nest Gen 4 thermostats or 3 or whatever it is, but also it's more of a software problem. Is Google came in, bought Nest, moved everything to the Google Home app, and probably realized it's a giant pain in the butt to migrate all of those Gen 1 and 2 thermostats that work differently, designed with different devs, things like that. So they decided not to do it. And you got a coupon for 50% off if you wanted. I didn't use it. I went to Ecobee in my new home. But I don't know. This is the trend now, and it's disturbing, but I don't know how you fix it other than saying, hey, I'm willing to subscribe to some service associated with this, but at some point, the hardware that is on all of these devices is not going to be able to support the software that is being used. I am completely shocked, for instance, that we have all the Google smart speakers that came out. I think all of them are slated to work with Gemini, which really surprised the heck out of me. They're way behind in putting out new hardware, anything like that. But every smart speaker that's out there that they've made will support Gemini in some way, shape, or form. That is not something we saw with Amazon, as the enhanced version of Alexa, I won't say her name, doesn't work on some older hardware. Now, you can also argue Amazon's put out a lot more hardware, so that might make sense, but they've now set a precedent of depreciating connectivity to your digital assistant on old hardware. Sadly, this is the nature of where we are now, because if you're not subscribing to something, the only way to get your cash is to make you buy a new piece of hardware a few years down the road.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with anything that you said there. One thing that I will throw in is I think we have quite solidly reached the point where this amalgamation of legacy technology with smart technology or even streaming technology is starting to fail, because we saw that for so long, and the preset in the FAQ is a great example of that. Should I expect that my stereo can have presets 10 years later? Less than 10 years later? Well, I guess over 10 years later, it depends. Yes, probably. But the thing is, we saw this big smash of stuff happen where it's like all this internet connected stuff. Different features were supplemented, and now they're starting to need that backbone, and that backbone is being retired.
Sure. I guess there's a slight difference here with what we're talking about with the Bose stuff, just from reading what you've been saying there, because you said in theory, things like Bluetooth, aux input, HDMI input, things like that will keep working. So while you don't have smart capabilities, you still have, by what is all accounts and by all the propaganda that is out there, a pretty solid little speaker or sound system. So that's one of the trade-offs you have as you depreciate some other things, like say, I'm going to cast a hypothetical here. They were depreciating the Gen 1 Nest devices or Alexa devices. How do you do anything with those if you can't talk to them? That's the difference. I can't hit a button and cause it to Bluetooth pair. I can't make it do anything besides turn volume up and down or mute it by hitting buttons. So at least, and maybe this is me reaching, trying to find a pro here, at least you still have a speaker that you're able to interact with and use for some purpose. Whereas what we're seeing with some of these other smart devices and things out there is when you lose your app connectivity, it's basically e-waste.
Fair enough. SP, what's your thoughts?
It's pretty standard in our lifetimes. You know, I've grown from stuff that used to last a lifetime. There's those internet memes.
You
and
also
jokes.
groan, by the way, whenever you podcast with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Like right now. But there are the internet memes that these refrigerators from the 1980s are still working today, where you buy a new refrigerator and it's planned obsolescence in 6 years because of the same issues. There are internet connected, internet of things and that sort of thing. And then also just the motors and everything behind it are not meant to last like they were in the 80s and before. With the digital software, I think the companies that will engender a lot of goodwill over the course of their consumers' lives are the ones that will allow APIs out there, like just shareware. This is
Those
what
cost money.
well, to set up. Yeah, I understand. But if you plan that obsolescence from the beginning and say, we are going to turn over everything here to everybody so that you individually can go into your devices and put some firmware in there so that you can do whatever that you want and make it easy to do it, basically, that you can create something that can persist versus e-waste. And
I like your thought. I like it a lot, but let me take devil's advocate here. You make it so that you can open source the software on your refrigerator. I install Steven's super firmware.
I know.
And then my refrigerator burns my house down.
Yeah, right.
Who's actually liable? Steven or Samsung or me or nobody?
Well, that would be when you open it up, you would have to sign up for those terms. I totally get that. And I was headed there myself.
Okay. I apologize. I derailed you. My
No,
bad.
you didn't.
I'm sorry.
You brought up a link, but there's got to be this middle ground between the two. We've all had or currently have Harmony remotes from Harmony, now Logitech, same sort of deal. And I wish they would make that code API because it's failed again. So like the last time we podcasted together, it had failed, come back. Now it's failed again, where I can use the remote individually, but I can't use it through my smart speaker in order to control the volume, turn it on and off and that sort of thing. I have no idea what's going to work on any given day. And I really wish that they would just open source that code right now. Give me the option to turn it on and then let me take the risk of the remote working or not working, or me protecting it behind a firewall or something like that. I think we as a society have to get to the point where that is a viability. I also think, on the other hand, that we as society need to get to the point where all this stuff needs to be updated to some AI in the cloud, and that the AI itself manages the software, which is a lower level than itself. And by doing that, it can keep it alive with the parameters. It needs to talk to these certain things. It needs to perform these certain operations. In this particular case with the speakers, so that the presets are there, so that it works when you're using it with perhaps devices that it already knows, maybe not new devices, but devices that it already knows, and then gives you the opportunity to interface with other newer devices through some sort of coding. That is a possibility in the future. Are we there yet? No, which is why I'm not saying it's a viable alternative, but I can see that becoming a viable opportunity in just a couple of years.
So let me pose you a hypothetical when it comes to potentially curing our e-waste. We've talked about the fact that, hey, a lot of these things that are sunk cost, buy it once and never pay again, cause it to go away. If Logitech came out today, and I know you both have Harmonies, I do too, and said, we'll keep everything running, we'll maintain and develop it if we can get 50% of our user base to say they'll pay $2 a month or $20 a year for our service, would you do it?
For the Harmony situation, it would be a yes for me.
If it was low cost, if they upped it to like 15 bucks a month, I'm not paying it.
That's the question then, is if they do that, when do they become greedy enough that they gradually creep that price up that then everyone goes away again? And that's the inevitable truth of all of this, is they start us with a cheap subscription, and then we see it with Disney Plus, Netflix, all those other things, and then they go through the roof and you're just like, nope, I'll wait until the next promo. The way the system is set up now, cool cloud connected services, the days of free are gone. We're now at a point where you either are buying a subscription or you're paying a huge upfront cost in the hopes they don't shut it down a few years down the road.
Yeah, I have to say that for me with this whole situation, I do think the fridge example is a great one because I think that there is unfortunately a future where we're not curing the e-waste and it's becoming like the fridge where we accept that you just don't have the same quality as you used to get with the fridge. And so we're living through the area right now and I hate it because I think that this is BS that people bought products and have bought different things expecting a certain level of feature sets and now they're not getting that. I don't like that, but I think that we eventually get past that where people start to accept that I understand I'm buying this product and I might lose access to that thing later, like how people started to accept that I'm going to buy a fridge and it's not going to last 30, 40 years anymore. So I do think that unfortunately the solution is actually not solving e-waste and it's that we accept that we lose things.
But where's the expectation on the length of use of the item?
And that's where I think it's going to change because I think you go back to the 70s and you say you're going to buy yourself a fridge and 10 years later you're going to need to buy yourself another fridge and people are going to you're insane. There's no way I'm going to do that. But that's where we as society went. We accept that that's how appliances have gone and unfortunately we don't know where that's going to land with this sort of stuff.
Yeah, if the company sells the refrigerator or whatever item it is, even speaker, you name it, we've named a ton of smart devices. If they sell it and they say, we will support it for X amount of time, and they might extend that a little bit on the tail end if it's economically viable for them to do so. And then at the end, they're going to stop, like Windows 10. Technically, Windows 10 just went into obsolescence.
That was
like
our
last
final
week.
Windows they promised.
True. But then they said, okay, we're going to support it to this date. And it took them a couple, like 3 years to get to the point where we are now, where it's supposed to be gone, right? Or not supported, basically. Not the security is not supported with it. And I think we're at that point where we just know that it is going to end at some point. But if the company is open with that, what that timeline is, then you can make an informed decision if you're going to buy product X or Y based on the amount of time that the company is going to support the software behind it. There is still the physical hardware reliability that you have to take into account. So there's now two things that you have to take into account. But if the company says we're going to support it for X amount of time, then you can make an informed decision. I think that might be a more viable for the consumer, but that's assuming that your average consumer is smart about all this and wants to weigh those. And I don't think that the average consumer is going to put that much time into a smart speaker.
You're starting to see consumer pushback on some stuff though, because like Samsung has said, hey, all of these fridges that we built that have like tablets built into them, we're going to start serving ads on it. And there's been a pretty loud pushback on that one. And I think deservedly so, because I bought this and now you want to put an ad in the middle of my kitchen when that is not what I signed up for. Now, could you just set up Pi-hole on your network and block all the ads before they can even come in? Sure, but your common user is not going to do something like that. We're starting to see the greed factor come into play enough where a lot of consumers may start being like, no, I'm not buying a Samsung fridge again. Not because they're crappy and don't work well after 6 years, but because they keep changing what they're going to do with the tech. And side note, Samsung fridges suck. Don't buy one. They break within 5 to 6 years because the guts inside them are bad.
Okay, so think about the next extension of that is, some of these fridges and smart devices, well, let's stick with the fridges. They have the camera inside, so you could see what was inside without opening your fridge. How long till they start mining that? How long till they start mining?
They already have.
They probably are. And you know what? I don't know why you would want that camera in your fridge other than the first time you do it, you go, okay, that's kind of cool. But what is the practical use case? Do you really lose that much cool air to open your fridge to be like, did I buy milk or what's the date on my milk?
All right. I saw,
this is a problem that no one's looking to solve. They just solved it.
I saw a reel or something just this past week that was funny on this. So I'm just going to recant it because it's the usefulness of it is the entertainment factor. Is this woman put a candy bar in the refrigerator and told her husband, boyfriend, whatever, don't eat that, that's mine. The stereotypical woman is going to eat the Hershey bar and the guy just leave me alone sort of thing. And Well, the next day the Hershey bar was gone, and the guy legitimately said, "I did not take that." So she said, "Okay, let's go to the tape." And they went to the tape or the recording, and I don't know if these recordings are kept anywhere. Opens up the refrigerator door. The guy does opens up the refrigerator door, sees the candy bar there, and but closes the door. So then a couple minutes later, the door opens. Guy is holding cat. Cat reaches out. Cat grabs the candy bar. Guy leaves. The cat took the bar. I didn't take the bar. So it's entertainment value.
That's so good. That's so good. So before we spend too much time hating on all of these subscriptions and lack thereof and e-waste and all that, I just want to say that for me, this sort of thing always, whenever I read it, makes me want to continue my ongoing quest to try to stay as local as possible in stuff that is controllable because of open source nature or whatever, that it's not dependent on an outside service. So it's hard to walk that line in certain things, and sometimes it's not worth it, but it's always a good reminder for me. And RIP Wink.
It's not dead yet.
Not yet.
Somehow.
I mean, Stephen, you may or may not have not one but two Wink hubs. In your house right now.
Okay, let's talk about this before we get to Chris's news here, because I've already decided that we're going to extend this a little bit here in some of our discussions on some of these points here, because I got myself a you know what, just hold on one second here. Chris Farrell, why don't you describe what you're holding up?
For those on audio, I'm holding a Wink Gen 1 device that I promptly found when we were moving out of the old house, tossed in my random tech box of stuff that packed up, brought it here, and went, why the hell do I have this? I can't even hook it up to anything anymore, because when I decided not to use the subscription, I didn't upgrade the hardware, and I'm pretty sure it's non-upgradable at this point in time.
Nope,
so this is a relic, the Wink Gen 1 hub that I think I paid $20 for at Target on the clearance rack.
E-waste right now. Yeah.
It's going to be dissected just for S&Gs, just to see what's inside.
And for those of you not watching, I found a little package at my doorstep a while back, and I opened it up, and I was very confused because, actually, I'll be honest, I was out, and my wife called me, and she goes, "Oh, SP sent you a package," and I'm like, "Okay, what is the label?"
Was
say?
it in a box?
It was a box, and it was very bloody. But she told me that the label said something about a VHS and on there.
True.
And so immediately my mind.
By the way, you have to declare, since I live in the United States, Stephen lives in Canada, you have to fill out a customs form as it goes across the border. So there's literally a
Fight the power,
inventory
don't do it.
of what is in the box that's on the label for the package.
So my mind immediately goes to, okay, he wrote VHS because this was on the heels of him having a whole eBay fiasco with some other entertainment equipment. And I thought, did he send me his e-waste? But then I found out that there was a VHS in there that had the 2005. Oh, it's not focusing.
It's my handwriting, by the way. I will admit it.
2005 Super Bowl of the Patriots versus the Eagles. So he sent me that, which was very cool.
Are you sure that's what it is? Have you watched it
I have
yet?
not watched it yet, but I am looking forward to seeing what.
I will vouch that is exactly what is on that
Oh,
tape.
I was
There's no hidden gems in
That's
there.
too bad.
I just wanted to. It was either that or I was going to throw it away, and I figured I need to send this to either an Eagles fan or a Patriots fan. So I decided to send it to Patriots fan.
But I say all of this because also in there was the infamous SP edition of the Wink 2 hub. That
Is it autographed?
That it was not autographed, but this is the very one that he recounted on this podcast about eBaying. Having the eBay user not pay attention to anything because they're an idiot. If you're watching this, you're a moron. You can stop watching the show. And created a problem with eBay and then ended up coming back to him. So I have the SP edition of the Wink 2 hub that is bricked. So there you go. I have that, and I am so glad that we got on this topic because I totally forgot to mention it on here.
Steven, open it up. It's not just the box; it's the actual Wink 2
It is.
hub.
I
in
haven't.
there.
I haven't actually opened it yet. So this is.
Oh,
this
okay.
is. This
It's
is,
hard. There's hardware in there. Yeah.
There we go. See, you can see the Wink 2 hub. It's kind of hard to see, but there is a Wink logo there.
There is a legitimate Wink 2 hub.
So
in there,
that is what I have here, which takes us from one piece of outage junk to another, which is Chris's news.
Well, I mean, I don't know that it's outage junk, but yeah, we were talking about subscription services and things like that. Hey, a lot of that is built on the backbone of AWS. For those of you that are not aware, that is Amazon Web Services. Obviously, things like Amazon Voice Services use that to do all of the web processing, things like that. But so do things like, I don't know, Snapchat or Fortnite and a variety of other services. So why do I mention that? Well, it's Monday, October 20th. And evidently this morning there was a bit of a kerfuffle when it came to AWS service. There was an early morning software update to their DynamoDB that contained an error which took down service in Northern Virginia. The error within that update caused a chain reaction of service failures and disruptions, something that we are seeing still at this time when we record at 8:40 p.m. You heard us joking in the pre-show that Steven was having trouble with his Stream Deck. Well, it's because there's a webhook for it. And he was like, why isn't this working? Why isn't this working? And I think it's SP that went, does it use AWS? And we all went, oh, that could be it. So why is this a big deal that AWS is down or having problems? Well, about 30% of the worldwide cloud market is using AWS as their backend. So in theory, you got about a third of web service based software that may or may not be working properly at this time. There's even a banner on the top of Amazon.com if you go there today to say that they're having website troubles, refresh to try and order, and all of their delivery times were well into the end of the week now. It was the 20th today. I was trying to order a few things, and most of the delivery dates were like the 25th and 26th. So either delivery's messed up or they're improperly able to estimate what those are with all of their AWS issues.
In Canada, they just removed it and put a thing that says, we'll let you know when this will be shipped.
That's hilarious. Yeah. So why do I bring this up? Well, because honestly, I didn't realize there was an AWS web outage until I got to work today, and it was about 6:30 or 7, and I popped on, took a couple minute breaks to go see what was on the news on the website, went, AWS is down. How did I not notice? And I went, wait a second, I guess I did notice, because it was about 5:15. I'd just finished brushing my teeth, and as I was walking back into the bedroom, I said, hey, A-word, what's the weather for today? And the light spun, and it spun, and about 10 seconds later it goes, I'm unable to connect to the internet. And I paused, and I looked around, and I went, I'm pretty sure everything's on the internet. I looked at my watch. It didn't show that it was disconnected. I looked across the room to the smart display I have that's a digital picture frame, and it was showing pictures and no connection error. And I went, maybe it's just a weird Amazon hiccup. And I didn't think anything of it until I saw that there was an outage. So why do I mention? I kind of wanted to see with you guys, did this AWS outage really impact your life in a negative way? Because I know for a lot of people, it could have taken... Okay, well,
Yes,
you go
did.
first, SP. How did it impact you? Because I'm really curious, because I didn't notice it.
Well, I did. I actually, this is kind of funny. Stay with me here.
Sure.
At 4:40 this morning, I was watching YouTube in bed. I was watching one of my car channels that I watch, and HH Wheels. If you're curious about it, I can tell you more about it, but it's immaterial. So I knew my internet was working. It was streaming. And I have a smart switch on the lamp next to the bed. And I was like, okay, I'm not going back to sleep. I'm going to get up. I'm going to start working out. So I said, A-word, turn on my lamp. And nothing happened. I'm like, A-word, turn on the lamp. Nothing happened. A-word, turn on the light, because I get progressively angry when it doesn't listen to me. And it didn't do anything. I'm like, fine, I'm going to do it myself. I got my iPad out, which I was watching the YouTube video on. I went to Smart Things app, and it took a little bit to load everything, but it did load. And I pressed turn on the lamp. It's one of the many, we've talked about it before. I have more than a few dozen Smart Things in my house, including the refrigerator, as we were not really discussing, but discussing before. Anyway, turn on the lamp. Nothing. on the lamp and, hitting the iPad harder, and it didn't
That's
go.
going to fix it.
So I actually have a dumb lamp it was just an extra lamp, but we put it next to my lamp just for a backup in case it didn't work for specifically situations like this. Because I know at some point it's going to happen. And I turned it on, the manual one. The other one didn't work for an hour. And then after I took a shower and got ready for work, because I go to work early. I work for a organization that starts early. So I'm starting to get ready to go, and I say, "Hey, word, turn on the lamp," and it actually turned on. I was like, okay. So then I go downstairs to fix breakfast, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Hey, A-word, was there a Smart Things outage this morning? And it said, no, it is working fine right now. When did this occur? Because I'm doing the A-word plus thing now.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And so it came back. When did this occur? Maybe I can do some back analysis on what was going on. I said, happened about 4:40 this morning. And it said, well, it's working fine right now. In the middle of the night, sometime, this is what it told me. In the middle of the night, sometimes these smart things or smart devices update. And maybe it was going through one of those cycles, but it's working fine now. Don't worry about it. I was like, okay, when a smart device tells you not to worry about a smart device, I start worrying about the smart device. All right.
No, Hal.
So I didn't have time because I was running like 5 minutes late and I really needed to get going because I was actually dealing with a new employee today. And I left, but what I wanted to do was do down detector for various different things. And I would have found that AWS was down if I used down detector at that point in time. So that was one reason that it affected me. And then throughout the day, Chris, you were talking about delivery times being pushed back. I actually have several things in the pipeline from Amazon to be delivered. And I had a couple things delivered today, but I didn't have everything delivered today. I'm like, what's going on? So they started to drop off one after another, after another, after another. I was like, oh, because I had seen and read about the problem. I'm like, that's exactly what happened. They use AWS to have their logistics system on board, which normally works great, and it is down right now. And because I depend on those deliveries of this, I don't need to go to the store. I don't need to spend time to go to the store. It's just going to be delivered at a certain point in time. Generally, it's a little cheaper. I'm just going to order it from Amazon, and they didn't show up. Now, did it affect my life? Because none of these things were critical. It wasn't like it was medical stuff. It was all stuff that it can wait a day or two. But it has affected my life. And if it would continue, it would affect my life even more and more and more and more. So I really hope they get it fixed if they haven't already.
So you're kind of describing circumstances where it was annoying and a little bit of a pain point, but it didn't really cause you great heartburn or anything like that. There are some other folks that had bigger issues, for instance. My wife teaches at one of the universities here, and they have a program at WVU that's called Canvas or something like that a variety of other universities use that is for the students to be able to submit their paperwork, their homework, exams, stuff like that. And it didn't work all day, basically. So they couldn't submit exams. There was another guy in one of the Discords that I talk sports on who said, yeah, I have an exam tomorrow, and all the review material that our professor put up is on this Canvas program, and I can't get to it right now because of the AWS outage. And as of about 4:30 this afternoon, he'd been trying to get on to get his study material since 8 a.m. and had not been able to access the system. So there are some folks that it was both annoying and also potentially problematic for their GPA.
So
Ernesto in the chat says down for him the Canvas stuff too. So evidently it's still down. I'm not sure where Ernesto's out of, but it's 8:48 Eastern as we record this on the 20th. So it's been down for 12 plus hours for some folks that have been trying to get in there to prepare for exams.
So for me, I'm pretty fortunate usually with this sort of stuff here because normally when these things happen, they will start somewheres early in the morning. And so as a West Coaster, I get to wake up and see a Discord message that came in from Chris Farrell at 4:45 a.m. my time that talked about the issue that was happening because
That's like 2:30 in the afternoon.
so that was my first thing. Was I had noticed the notification when I'd woken up this morning that you had posted there in our Discord, which is why everybody should be in our Discord, by the way. Everybody should definitely come over to our Discord and hang out there because you get things like that. But I didn't respond. I'll admit I didn't respond. And then I get to do my normal routine, and
You could just blame Discord. Be like, oh, Discord was screwing
wasn't
up, so
working,
my
that's why.
response
That's
didn't
why.
send.
No, I'd rather you know that I ignored your message.
Oh, thank you.
But no. So then what happens is, for the audio listener, Chris is very resisting his finger next to his index finger from going up. But so my morning routine, I do my thing, log into work, no problems there, anything, and then I hear the kids get up, and what do they try to do? Turn on the TV using a certain voice assistant.
Okay.
So I go and I'm like, hey, see this? This is called a remote. You're gonna need to use that. so I get them set up with that, and then after a little bit, I get a message from a coworker going, do you know if something happened to our access to Adobe stock? I can't search for anything. So I go and I look, and inevitably apparently we could get to the site for Adobe stock, but we couldn't actually search for anything, and there were some errors coming up with that. So I assume that the front page must be different than the back end that's actually pulling all the information. So it must have been on that. So then things were pretty normal after that because, I wasn't needing to. It wasn't my search that was happening. I was just trying to help somebody out. So I just let them suffer and I continued on. And then a little bit later, I went, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a few minute break here and get the YouTube video set up for the GonnaGeek show for tonight. And so I was able to get it set up on the YouTube panel. But then I tried to get our live page on the GonnaGeek site set up, which is through WordPress, and I couldn't access the GonnaGeek site. Inevitably, why am I saying inevitably? That's not the right word. Indubitably. No, so apparently the platform that we were on for the GonnaGeek site, which is it is a CDN service that we use, but that must have been through Amazon Web Services, because from my area, whatever node I was hitting, I couldn't actually access the GonnaGeek site or the website for the CDN where all of this stuff is managed. So that node that I was hitting must have been an Amazon Web Services one. And then there was just some other weird quirks throughout the day. I actually went to order something on Amazon. I had that problem, but it was overall just mainly an inconvenience.
I see in the chat, though, we have a Jonesy who's watching on YouTube, I believe, says a big chunk of Adobe's Creative Cloud and apps were down for them as well.
Okay.
I didn't even consider that. And, this would be one of those circumstances where I'd be reaching out and be like, hey, I pay for a subscription. I pay for 365 days of the subscription. I couldn't access things today. Give me one more day. See if you can get some free stuff. I mean, you're paying for it, so I think it is fair.
Okay, how many times have you done that with utilities like cable or electricity that goes out for a variety of reasons?
Well, the good news is my electricity has been pretty solid for me for the past 10 years, so I haven't needed to. And I guess I could have for some of the Hulu outages that there have been, but the nice thing there is I'm like, F it, I'll just watch YouTube instead and end up going to YouTube.
Yeah, in my experience, the hassle of getting like a couple of dollars off, because that's what they'll prorate it to, it's not worth my time. But that's me. It might be a lot to somebody, and I'm not going to minimize that. And it is a way to fight back with the company to make sure that they have a little bit more resiliency and assurance of their service. So I get that, but in my experience, it doesn't really matter all that much. What mattered to me, what was the biggest thing for me in streaming or internet, was I was having so many issues with cable that when fiber finally came to my neighborhood, I switched just like that. It was not a second thought about it. I'm going with something else because your reliability has been so poor. You could go back in 5 years ago on the GonnaGeek show or Better Podcasting or whatever, and you will, see us talk about all three of us actually, that's not just me, our internet issues.
Yeah.
And we just switched because it would go to something that was more reliable. Now, is it more reliable because the tech is more reliable, or more reliable because it's newer? That's debatable. It's just more reliable. I've had maybe one outage with my fiber internet since I got it, and that was because of some storm or something, and it got back on in a matter of a couple of hours versus the days that it's taken in the past for Spectrum, my Spectrum cable, and Spectrum was the provider. So whatever you want to talk about there in terms of what is the value to you, or are you just waiting for something else to come along? Like with electricity, you can clearly just say, look, I will get my own solar panels and my own battery, and I will be fine myself. That is a legit way to fight back against the electric company.
Not for me. So
why is that? Is that because there's regulations or cost?
It's because of the cost, but also my house position versus what I could get.
But if you put a satellite in orbit to beam that energy right down to your house.
Right. I was going to use wireless charging from your house, from here.
Okay.
Yeah. So come to our Discord and let us know, where did you first experience this outage? Because I'm sure it affected you today. Chris Farrell will personally respond to every one of your messages.
Yeah, sure. Why not? I didn't say when. So that's an easy promise to make.
And finally, let's go to a quick extra here, because I got a follow-up to a past podcast. That's right. One of the great things about being such a long-standing podcast that just covers a variety of BS is that every now and then a topic goes out of phase and then comes right on back. And for longtime fans of this show, you might go way back to episode 327 of this show, where Chris Farrell told us all about a smart toilet for research purposes. Well, guess what?
Well, you bought one.
You bought one? I did not buy one. But
Chris did.
Oh, Chris did. Yeah, so I'm sure he did. No,
I mean, if someone buys it for me, I'll install it.
I think that was your response back in 327 as well. Well, I was on Google News today and I saw a post about how Kohler was looking for well, they had a new product for their health and wellness brand, because they were creating a $5.99 Dakota, which is DEKODA clamp, which is going to go over the rim of a toilet bowl, and it is going to point an optical sensor at your excretions and secretions. It's
Dr. Toilet.
It's going to go at, I think Dr. Toilet was episode 327, wasn't it?
I think it was a Scrubs bit that I ripped off,
okay,
maybe, but
fair enough. Well, that's okay. That's probably what it was. I briefly looked up which episode it was and scanned the information we had there. But this new device is going to analyze the images and detect any blood, as well as analyze potential gut health and hydration status. And if you're saying to yourself, wow, $5.99 for a poo cam? Guess what? You're also going to have to pay a subscription fee between $70 and $156 per year, depending on which plan you choose. So if you have been waiting for another toilet cam, you're in luck, because there is now a new thing that you can buy.
Well, I mean, Steven, I just take a photo every morning and send it to you over text, and you let me know how things look. So you could probably just monetize that service.
I don't know. As soon as I saw this, I actually thought that this was something that we should bring on here, because this was a follow-up to Chris's prior talk. But also, it's an opportunity to bring back the Toilet Talk channel on the Discord server, which is not actually related to episode 327. It was related to something else. So go ahead and I think you come to our Discord, we'll have the Toilet Talk channel back.
Yeah, we can put that back, but I want to give credit to Jonesy right here, because in the chat, he mentions that I guess if you have a chronic illness, it might be appealing. And you know what?
Yeah.
I completely agree with that. If you have like an ongoing battle with cancer and you need to know how things are going, either from your urine or your bowel movements, I think actually, if you have those sorts of concerns, this is not, it could even be subsidized through like your medical insurance.
Yeah, I guess that's the question is with the subscription fee, is that something insurance would pick up? Because like Jonesy's right. If you have an illness or something like that where you need to be monitoring to make sure that there's no problems, this could potentially catch something before you normally would. So we made jokes because it's funny, but at the same time, there is potential there for it to be helpful for the folks. But I just don't know how monetizable this is. I can't imagine there's a huge subscription base for it, but maybe I'm wrong. I could just not be plugged in properly to know the market that they're trying to capture.
You're not old enough.
I 100% agree. All jokes aside, I think there is an actual reason for this. And it was probably where we went last time we talked about this, because the last thing was, I think, also health related. I do have concerns, given everything we've talked about today, as far as different web issues and retired services and also privacy concerns. And I have all sorts of concerns about that. With that said, you know, if you've been around for a while, you've at some point had to send a sample in, and this sounds a lot better than having to go through the process of the other sample method.
I just have concerns about what happens if you eat a bunch of blue food colored frosting on a cake or something. What's it going to say when things come out and aren't the normal appearance?
I mean, how much is a colonoscopy, for instance?
Yeah.
And then could I don't know if it would or not, but could this replace that? I mean, there's benefits of putting a scope up and, you know, checking out your insides, but you can diagnose a lot from what the excretions are. So yeah, jokes aside, this is from a medical standpoint a good idea. Now, if you're a college student and you're just using it to determine how hungover you are, you know, like maybe I shouldn't have that Taco Bell, maybe I shouldn't.
Look.
You know, I don't think it's worth that. But
So if there's any college kids watching this one, let me give you guys the pro tip from a man who's 40 now, but had a lot of fun in his early 20s at what was one of the highest ranked party schools in the land, is make sure you drink plenty of water and do the check of pulling the skin on the back of your hand to see how quick it snaps back. And that's a pretty good sign of at least how dehydrated you are, to know how much water you need to chug if you've been having a nice evening out.
You're supposed to pull the skin on the back of your hand. I thought it was somewhere else. Okay. Whoops.
in evening, aren't most of the West Virginia football games during the afternoon?
I mean, it depends. Back then we were actually good, so we had night games.
Before we do quickly tease future episodes, I do want to just mention that this whole health discussion, by the way, reminds me, one of the things that I regularly think about, one of the episodes that I probably think about the most about this show is back. I just looked it up, episode 128 of this show.
He's no selling it so hard.
I regularly think about the sperm switch because you brought that news, Chris Farrell.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
And
yeah,
and that is one that I every now and then I just go, why didn't that technology figure its way out?
I mean, especially, I'll speak from my position as someone who lives in the United States, is that with the current climate of things, there's a lot more men that are considering procedures to help deal with birth control and things like that. And that would be a useful alternative as someone. And I will also say, I'll say point blank, I had the snip about a month ago. That would have been a nice alternative because it was, from what I remember, not actually surgery, but more of kind of like some kind of injection or something like that. That was then some kind of dissolvable blockage. Probably a faster recovery time. Not that it's a huge recovery time for a vasectomy or anything like that, but it does slow you down for a bit.
So anyways, I just wanted to mention that because we were talking health talk. We are not health experts. You should not listen to anything we say about health or anything
God, no,
else,
look
actually.
at me.
Like, And before we go today, I just wanted to tease a little bit. We said we've got some topic ideas for future episodes of this podcast. And if you're paying close attention, one of them that we might talk about in the future is how I ended up upgrading my phone and how I got there, because it was not a straightforward choice. And it was...
I don't think any of them have been straightforward with you for a decade.
Fair enough. That's valid. And then also, we might have in a future episode a little bit of information about lawns. How does that apply to
And
the official
robots.
Gonna Geek show? I was just going to say, Chris, do you want to say?
We're going to talk about robots because, hey, I used to live in a townhouse. I don't anymore. So now there's chores that I don't want to do. So how can I not do them? Robots.
I will mow your lawn for you, Chris.
Sweet.
So that's going to go ahead and do it for episode number 417. I'll figure out my buttons soon enough. 417 of the official Geek Show. I'm Steven saying I don't even know where anything is anymore on my soundboard.
I'm SP saying, can't wait to talk about bones next time.
Or the time after that.
I'm Chris. I don't have a soundboard.
Bye!
Disney's going to sue us.
Thanks for checking out another episode of the official GonnaGeek.com show. If you like the show, please give us a 5-star review in Apple Podcasts or a thumbs up on YouTube. You can always join us for our live recording sessions at www.geeks.live. And remember, you can find our full back catalog at GonnaGeek.com/show. If you're itching for more geeky content, check out other shows on GonnaGeekNetwork.com. Voice work was by Emily Prokop of the Story Behind podcast. That's it for this episode. We hope to see you back again next show.
Cool podcast host. Walk away from explosions.
That's us. That's us. Here's the,
I mean, it's more of a wheeling action.
there we go, episode 128, the sperm switch. Back in 2016. Wow, that was an impressive roll.
There's
Impressive.
rollerblade wheels on my chair.
I do too.
I'm
Hey,
on
baby, wanna
laminate
kill all
floor,
humans?
so I used it. Wow, that's almost 10 years old.
Yeah, we've
Nuts.
been doing this for a while, buddy.
I had forgotten that story, to be honest.
I think about it every now and then, just because
Yeah,
I
I
thought
think about it a lot.
about the sperm switch or about me.
Why not
I
both?
think about you needing a sperm switch.
I don't know about needs so much.
Oh, the link is very, very dead that was in there now.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Eh,
Thanks
no
everybody
biggie.
for stopping by. I have no idea how many people are left, but thank you very much for stopping by. We really appreciate the chat in the chat in the various different places on Discord and YouTube and wherever else Steven is actually streaming. So we
Question
really
from
appreciate
Albert, and I'll suggest also drop it in the Tech and Gear channel here on the Discord. Any opinions on 5G home internet over wired? The only practical option in my area for decent speed is either Comcast or recently offered 5G with a free gateway. I mean, you can sort of check in cell phone coverage maps what the coverage is like in your area. And what you could do is a lot of these things have like a window in which you could return it. You could try it for like a day or two and just use the 5G. And if it sucks, say I'm out.
I think, yeah, it really depends on what you're doing. If you're gaming, you might have some issues with some latency, but I think for an average user who's doing stuff like, you know, watching YouTube, watching videos and stuff like that, you're probably quite okay, because think about it. How often are you streaming like on your phone something, and well, maybe not you, Albert, sorry, but like often people are streaming on their phones high definition video, and it's coming into a decent resolution phone, like a
Compressed. You know it's compressed.
it
though.
is, but it's compressed. But if it's coming in at 1080 to your phone and your phone has as many pixels as a TV does, then it's the same thing if you were streaming to your TV over a 5G connection as it would be to your phone. Now, you might run into some issues with throughput and stuff if they only allow so much bandwidth.
The question is, what are they going to cap you at on a wireless 5G solution? I know, like on cell phones and stuff, we're talking like 50 gig data caps, which on a cell phone, even if you're streaming all the time, is tough to do unless you're doing like 4K streams. So really, some of the stuff I'd look at is what service it is. I think you mentioned Mint, which means they use T-Mobile's towers. So you should look and see what T-Mobile service is like around you. I would look to see what the bandwidth limits are and what the consumption limits may or may not be and what they'll throttle you down to when you hit a certain point, because if they throttle you down like 256 kilobits per second, it's effectively useless.
Yeah.
And if you're someone who has a lot of stuff going on with your internet, like streaming video shows or streaming TV apps and things like that,
One
add
of
up.
the considerations that I would have is how many people are using the tower nearby.
I was just
And-
gonna say,
yeah.
I think your is it called service availability or service reliability, where like, you know, sometimes when you are on a phone, you've got great coverage, your signal's strong, you go to hit play and it does take a little bit before it actually goes. It
Well,
is
let's take a stadium, for
yeah,
instance.
great example.
Most stadiums are equipped with phenomenal tower availability around them, yet in the middle of whatever event you are attending, where everybody is on their phones and everybody is trying to stream or upload video or whatever, it goes. You might be watching the actual, like, if you're going to a game, hockey game, basketball game, football game, whatever, you might show up at the stadium seeing the coverage, and it might work for a little bit if you're prioritized, but at some point in time during the time that you're there, eventually that's going to go away and you're never going to get it back, because there's so many people that the system itself starts shutting down. Now, that's an extreme case, but that's an example of how it works.
So it appears that Mint says unlimited data included, but speeds may be throttled after 1 terabyte of data in a month or during periods of network congestion.
How much data you guys use these days?
Oh, well over a terabyte.
Yeah, I was going to say,
I've had a couple of months where I've been doing backup related things, so it's been like,
Yep.
I just re-backed up my entire backup to Backblaze again, which is fun.
yeah, how long did that take you?
Weeks.
And the trade-off here on Mint Mobile's website is these prices for their 5G home internet are with a Mint phone plan. So it's predicated on you having a phone plan too, it sounds like. So something else to
How did we get
consider.
on Mint?
Because that's what Albert had
what he
mentioned
was-
as
yeah.
what the 5G option was
gotcha.
around
Okay,
him.
Sorry, I was curious. Okay, yeah. The other thing you could potentially look at, depending on your carrier and your use, is there is ways that you can hook up. There are some routers that will actually allow you to use mobile service. So you could potentially cobble together your own 5G based platform that's not on Mint, but I think you're going to be getting pretty annoying with the upkeep on it, I would think. And it would depend on the carrier's restrictions and stuff.
You know, one thing that I would consider, and I know the hardware is expensive, but I would consider it. I would consider Starlink as an option, depending on how much you're going to pay, how much data that you use in comparison to the 5G. And Starlink's only going to get better. So it's not like you're with 5G, you're kind of stuck with 5G for a while because they're not going to really do 6 or 7 or 8G coming up. But with Starlink, you're going to get those V3 satellites up there. You're going to get more bandwidth. You're going to get more power. Eventually, it's going to outperform the cellular networks. So I would consider it.
Yeah, I think you'd have to look at the cost. Every time I've looked at it, it's cost prohibitive. But
To get the hardware to start up,
no,
or
even
the
the monthly. Service.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
But I don't know
according to this, the Mint Mobile uses T-Mobile's 5G. You get typical download speeds with unlimited data between 133 to 400 megabits per second, with uploads around 12 to 55 megabits per second. But it all depends on your area. Is going to be the thing.
My internet is so bare bones that I don't even know how much data I'm using. They don't give me
Yeah.
that option to look it up.
So
I think Frontier does. I haven't looked.
Yeah, so like I don't know.
But Eero
I
will
don't
show
know
me.
if the price is different based on region, but here, like the Starlink Personal is the light version is $110 per month, and normal residential is $140 per month, and then
Canadian.
Canadian,
Are
yeah,
you-
and there
okay.
are wired internet like cable and
Yeah, right.
and fiber options for less than that.
A lot
but-
less, yeah.
But I don't know though. I remember if I remember correctly, Starlink did price things differently based off in regions. So who knows?
I mean, if you're in the situation where you either have to pay a company to drop a line, in some cases tens or maybe even hundreds of miles in order to get internet versus satellite, I could see where satellite would be the cheaper option between the two.
From September 22nd to October 20th, I used 19 terabytes of data.
Yeah, so
I'll just check on Eero because I can't find it on a Comcast Frontier site.
So there is a difference, though. You are tech savvy and stream a lot, and you have 4 people in your household that game, stream, whatever.
That 19 terabytes was because I was doing that Backblaze thing. Like that's not
Hey,
usually
guy-
what it is.
So this is what is today? Monday, and so far this week, I have downloaded 180 gigs of data and uploaded 20 gigs of data in 2 days. So yeah, last week I downloaded 222 gigs of data, uploaded 20 gigs of data. So I'm not sure what was different today. I should probably investigate that.
That's a lot of porn.
If I go back to past cycles here, July was 1.6 terabytes. June was 1.1. May 1.4. Oh, I had a light April at 874 gigs. So I'm usually about 1.5. It looks like, well, between
right.
1 and 1.5. But again, you're right. Like there are exceptions to my to.
I could possibly use my Eero to find out.
Yeah,
Right?
if you
Right,
pay
Chris?
for Eero Plus, it'll show you
Oh,
in
I
there
don't.
under the. Oh, I don't think it shows then, but you could look under the activity tab,
Yeah,
and let me see
unlock
if that.
more activity. Yeah, I don't get it. I would have to unlock more.
Shit,
I'm seeing
That's
uh,
not
well,
really showing up.
downloaded data, uploaded data. Oh, I am seeing by week,
Okay, yeah, I couldn't remember.
month. Hold on. This month of October, it's 1.5 terabytes. It's thinking about September. but-
Yeah, I'm generally somewhere between 240 to 270 gigs a week that I'm using. So a terabyte pretty easily. But we stream everything. We don't have cable TV, so if we want to watch TV, it's something streaming. If I'm listening to music, it's something streaming. I download video game updates on my Xbox. They're like 80 gig patches sometimes. But being wired in, they download it up to like 700 megabits per second. So at least it's fast.
You also have your 4K feet cams.
Well, I also do have two 2K cameras on the front side of the house that are constantly uploading data. And I've got a third that I'm installing tomorrow on the back side of the house. So that's probably the biggest chunk of my upload, other than when we're doing this, is data backups off my computer and then security camera footage.
Yeah, I'm most of my usage is through my FedFeet account.
I don't know what that is, but it sounds like it's something that I should know about.
Oh, you'll know.
I'll send you a link.
know.
It's because, okay, so a lot of the government workers in the United States are furloughed. Not all of them, but a lot of them. So the joke is that a lot of people started accounts on Fed feet.
As soon as you started going there, I knew exactly what you were talking about.
You want a free one, guys? Here's my no.
No,
Don't do
I'm
it,
not that
man.
flexible. I'm not that flexible to be able to do it. That's
gotta
the
be a
problem.
Patreon perk soon.
I'm gonna pull something if I try and do that. I'll pop a
Stretch,
stitch.
man. Oh yeah, right. You still have stitches in, huh?
I think no, they've dissolved. I think
You hope.
it doesn't feel like they're there anymore. So there's that.
Use my own modem with Comcast and a rental. I don't game. Don't have security cameras either. Yeah, I don't know if it's economically viable. But
If you're gonna save a decent amount of coin, why not?
Yeah.
I would encourage you to, at least on an annual basis, reevaluate. You don't want to be like my grandparents. My grandmother worked for the telephone company. She was an operator for Ma Bell. We might have discussed it at one point in time. They rented their rotary phones
God.
from the telephone company at a cost of $75 per month for each phone. So when my aunt was closing down their household after my grandfather was moved into hospice, that was the first. She's like, nope, I'm turning that off. So we lost the ability to, well, no, I think she put, you could buy a phone at Target back then for, a digital phone for really cheap. So she put one of those in the houses. But yeah, she returned she said the first day when she found that out, she drove those rotary phones back and she threw them at the person because like because what she tried to do is say, you've ripped these people off for so many years. And she even worked for your company and you've scammed her because it was $75. They had 3 phones in the house. You scammed them for so many years on this. And they refused to, give any money back. So
That's so wrong. So
It
wrong.
is.
Well, thanks everybody for coming on by. We're gonna keep trying to promote this and keep. We think this is the time we'll be at. We're just gonna make sure it's gonna
we
work.
also think this is the correct timeline, but you never
Timeline,
know.
yeah. Unfortunately, this is the correct timeline, but this is, I think, where the time that we'll be at. We'll just try it a little longer and see if this is when we think. And then the reality is we're over halfway through October. Probably most of December we won't do anything. We might do a show in there somewhere, but it probably won't be till the new year that we've got a big solid push for this show, but we are going to keep making a push because I think we like to see each other sometimes.
Only sometimes.
I mean, as long as I can throw my e-waste at you.
I like it. I completely forgot about it until you mentioned that, and I was like, "Oh, it's right here."
I thought you had mentioned Wink so many times. I'm like, he's definitely got to pull it out. He's gonna pull it out.
I literally had it right back there, And now I got to hook up the VHS again too.
That is a legitimate Super Bowl. Was that the one with the wardrobe malfunction? Was that the year of that?
Believe it was, yes.
Okay.
I think I
well,
thought it was
that-
before then. I don't remember though.
You've got the lot.
Yeah, no, you're right. It was before then. Or no, 2005. I think that was it, wasn't it?
Okay, so you have the actual tape of the event then.
You'll find out the tape's pretty worn out at that spot, Stephen.
No,
honestly-
Chris is right. It was 2004. It was the year before.
Okay, I have that one too somewhere,
So,
or maybe I threw it out now. I don't know. But if I run across it, I'll send it to you.
so that was okay. That was the Patriots versus the Panthers.
The Panthers won that, right?
Nope. That I believe was wasn't that Tom Brady's first one?
Really? I don't know what was his first year.
I thought that was 01 for Brady.
Oh, I think you're right. I don't know. That's so long ago.
is bound to happen eventually.
I admit that I was a Patriots fan after that.
So how do you feel about Bill Belichick being terrible at the University of North Carolina?
I think it's very fitting given how a bunch of shit went down.
Fair.
I believe that it's very fitting that he gets his just dessert. I also, as much as I like Tom Brady, I think that he deserves a lot of credit. I do think that he deserves a little bit of misfortune of his own right now. I think it's not right that he's currently
A commentator and an owner.
getting his cake and eating it too. I don't think that that is
And
fair.
he's not that great of a commentator either.
He made a lot of progress really quick
did.
last year, but
He
then
did.
he just plateaued, just
Yeah,
completely
but
plateaued.
why? Because he wants to run. In my opinion, this is my opinion. He wants to run the NFL someday.
You know, it would be so like, all he has to do is stop the I. Like, you know, because he has good things to input, good insight, but if he made it from the third party perspective as opposed to himself, it would go. I don't know. I think
they
he would be
all-
one of the best ones on there.
They all do it. Chris Culliver has done it. Troy Aikman has done it. All of them that have been players do it for a very, very, very long time until they can't remember doing
That's
it. Anymore.
fair point. But I do think, I think it's kind of BS what he's got going on with that. And I
By the
also, you know,
If I hear Troy Aikman or Joe Buck commentating, I will shut it off and I will find a radio stream and listen to
Wow.
that instead.
but I also
Yeah,
think though that, you know, Brady was soured to me because there was one or two comments that were made after he left the Patriots that I was like, okay, I see you gave up that last year. And there were some
He
people
did.
who thought about that. And it was only this last year that it solidly came up the timeline. I think it was maybe over the summer here about the way that they had basically had a fall out the year before his last year there, that he had said that he wanted to actually go, and they held on to him for a year, so they were able to. And there, I had speculated based off of some comments, and there was other people who had as well. Like, I'm not saying, me, but it was like there wasn't enough. I don't know. It really pissed me off. And then, sure enough,
Think of it
turned out
this
to be
way,
that
though, Stephen. All of the great quarterbacks,
Yeah.
specifically quarterbacks, have gone on to different teams.
Mhm.
Joe Montana did. Brett Favre did.
Favre.
And I won't say he's
Brett
great,
Favre.
but Rodgers did. And I mean, he's doing it right now. So all these great, Tom Brady, all these greats have gone on to different teams to prove that they, Peyton Manning, that's the other one I was forgetting. They've all gone on to other teams and have all done well in other teams, and in most cases won Super Bowls to prove that they belong in the greatest discussion. Now, Tom Brady, I'm not going to debate it. He is the GOAT. Unless somebody does the same thing or better,
Yeah.
he is the GOAT. I'm not going to debate it. He deserves all the accolades from his playing time, but off the field, that is what really defines the man versus the player.
Yeah. I will say, though, that you can bet your ass that I was really rooting for the Patriots to beat the Bucks that one game they had when he was on
Yeah,
there.
right.
And it was
Yeah.
so close. So close. I was really wanting the Patriots to take the win on that. But yeah, no, I think that would be great if something could happen that they could, I don't know, if Fox and him could come to an agreement for him to get out of
Still
that,
let him go.
because I do think that that's not right. That's my thoughts on it.
So I finally got it to come up for the last couple of months. 1.8 terabytes in September, 1.3 terabytes in August.
Sweet. That's pretty good.
That's not a lot. That's
No, but,
That's a lot
but
less than I
you're not
thought.
podcasting right now.
video pod. Well, I was podcasting with like Strange New Worlds.
But when was
And-
that ended?
It was August, right?
Oh,
and then
okay.
before
what
that-
month was that? That was
August?
No, what month did you just say?
That was September and August.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, yeah.
And then before that, I was doing Artie's Attic.
Right.
Very glad. I mean, I'm glad I watched
Yeah.
Warehouse 13. It was a much better show than I remembered, to be honest with you. Really enjoyed it, but glad that podcast is over.
But that would make sense because I was thinking like one thing that I always think about with our bandwidths when we do video
Right.
shows here is like we're recording them, we're streaming them, then we're downloading the files, then we're re-uploading the files,
Right.
and then we have backplace. Like, you know.
So in Stranger Worlds, I wasn't doing video. I was
right.
doing video to connect.
Yeah.
But I wasn't uploading a video version for Artie's Attic. I was. And then also when you are running like VGO Ninja
Yeah.
and OBS, you've actually got multiple streams that are going back and forth, which
Mhm.
probably jacks up the usage.
Yeah, like right now, I think I set it to 10 megabits per second for both of
Okay.
you guys.
Which we can handle it.
Yeah.
My co-host couldn't, by the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about
One co-host couldn't. Yeah.
Oh, see, actually, it's not using that much right now. Right now, apparently, I'm only using. That can't be right. Well, actually, I don't know. Maybe people are eating right now. I was gonna say the kids must not be gaming, but it's telling me I'm only using 33 megabits per second down and 10 up. Which could be.
Swamp Rep said Warehouse, their house. Yeah. Warehouse 13 on Sci-Fi. It's if you can catch it on Prime when it's free, because it rotates from free to paid. When it's free, it is a fun show to watch. I would advocate for buying it, but if you don't have money and you have an Amazon Prime subscription, just wait for it to come on.
I'm pulling
and
down
watch it
4.5 megabit right now and uploading 12 megabit.
Sweet.
Is the other occupant in your house using anything right now?
Her cell phone's working right now, and the living room Apple TV's got minimal. No, not enough to be anything significant. So I don't think she's watching Monday Night Football anymore.
I mean, I wasn't gonna tonight, to be honest with you.
Her cell phone's pulling data, but I mean, it's like less than a megabit, so it's probably just music or something. Because I can watch the live data go, oh God, that's all glaring.
Yeah, I can see live too. I just chose not to turn it on. This Eero stuff is really cool.
I was just trying to look to see. I always like to occasionally go in. Not that a lot gets captured because of SSL, but I do like to look to see what apps or sites show up when they do show up. Like, I can see that for the last 24 hours, Roblox used 885 megabytes. And Netflix used a gig.
We're doing this to our kids. I mean, I did it slightly, not anywhere near where you are doing or capable of doing, Stephen, just because my kids are 20 years older than yours. And so 20 years ago, that tech really didn't exist all that well. And I'm wondering for the next generation, like my grandkids and your grandkids, if you happen to have any, like what are your kids going to do to your grandkids, right?
Yeah. One of the things that I did discover when I switched one of my sons over to an iPhone, I got to mostly go hands off on parental mode now because I've been the parental mode one for so long with the phones. Now I do have myself on there because I can do most of it from my Mac Mini, but I'm not always near that. So like if I'm home, I'm happy to approve an app or whatever. But if I'm out, sorry. Talk to your mom. She's got the iPhone.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. We're gonna hit stop on the stream. We'll be back. Let me double check. There's nothing weird. What's 2 weeks from? Yeah, we'll be back on 2 weeks from now, which is the third. So come on back. Should be the same time. We'll probably be a little less newsy. We got a segment next time. But we're having fun having these chats. So come on back then, and you'll want to hear all about, most likely, it won't be phone stuff. It will most likely be lawn stuff, because that was what I earmarked for Chris, unless, of course, it all goes wrong. And Chris says, no, I need you to talk phones because...
Yeah, I can't wait because I've done some more research for myself.
The trade-off is the phone stuff might be more topical before it gets stale.
No, well, Yes.
based off the age of it. If
Okay.
other
Only
people
that-
are looking at similar things.
Or people are looking to buy maybe over the holidays.
Yeah. I'm not saying no on it. I'm just thinking out loud.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, let's chat offline, but also lawn stuff is also getting further away.
That's true.
Well, at least in our hemisphere.